Noel asked me when, he came to the shop and he's like, so what'd you think of the masterpiece, Madam Webb?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'm going to answer that question by explaining to you that 2 seats to my left, there was a gentleman, there was a teenager, and he had his phone out the entire time. The brightness wasn't too bad,
right?
But it was definitely in my periph the entire time.
Right.
There were a group of, I would say, 5 or 6, 12 to 14-year-olds way up in the front. And at one point, they were so loud and rambunctious, it sounded like they were having a slap fight.
Oh, they were doing a slap fight.
And none of that bothered me.
It did not.
I just sat there just going, good for them.
Yeah. Getting some enjoyment out of this.
Yeah, like normally that would enrage me.
Right.
Young junk.
But it's different.
Not different.
It's a different thing.
How dare you?
You guys.
How dare you? You know what? Everyone should be a part of this conversation. And then I said to her, it doesn't go there. Anyway.
What's up to our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the Geek Nation? I am so sorry. About this. Well, you're currently tuning into the Web of CultPop Podcast, episode 65, a show where we talk about comics and movies and TV show and breaking news and inexplicably being in multiple places at once with your power of our minds and all the other things that scratch your nerdy little itches. We're coming to you live from the Young Chuck Podcast HQ.
Young Junk.
That's it. It's a wonderful podcast production space in Manayunk. It's not their fault that this is happening the way it is right now. This is our fault. I'm your webtastic host, JD, of JD's Hero Complex, located at 4327 Main Street, Philadelphia, PA 19127.
What's wrong with what's happening right now?
Yeah, I was into it. Except you didn't do the last 4 digits of the zip code.
19127.
No, and then the 4 after that nobody knows.
I don't know those.
What is that number?
I don't know. Maybe a 4.
Zip code and then like a region, a zoning,
something. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
If you're in the chat, or would like to email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com and let us know what the fuck those numbers are. What are those numbers?
At the end of the zip code, you get a dash and then some more numbers.
And it fills it in if they need to.
Enough with the sass about like, well, it's a zip code, you dummy. No. What's the specific purpose of those dash other 4 numbers?
Yeah.
Also, do you guys remember, we're old. Do you remember when there weren't zip codes?
No. Do you?
Oh, yeah.
How old are you?
Like you were born in
area codes?
Area codes.
Yeah. Those are different. I stuck it out as long as I could.
I didn't get my own personal cell phone or my own number until high school, college, and it was in Orlando, which was overpopulated. So I've never not had 10-digit dial.
Okay.
But at home,
in all of Florida, no, just all of Florida. By the time I was of age to remember everything and like get number, it was always 10-digit dial because I guess the population centers are dense.
I didn't know that was like
it was always 352 or 407
here. Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
With me tonight is Noel.
Hey.
And Brian.
Hi.
Also in the booth is our trusty producer, Dylan.
That wasn't Dylan. That was actually a dying seal. Dylan, if you could push the seal to the side and let us know you're...
Yeah, I got it. He's gone. Okay. I was gone. Sorry about that, guys.
Smells.
We got a real bad seal problem in this studio.
Seal.
Are you guys having a problem with him?
I find them to be delightful.
Yeah, it's cool. We toss the ball around.
Sounds like a you problem, honestly.
Up until we asked for your name, it was quite silent.
Yeah, the seals got me and the seals got beef. They don't like it when I participate in things. Yeah.
That's the root of the beef.
You blubbing me, bro?
Are
you blubbing?
Chew the fat and
we could make something out of this.
Yeah, we blub.
Like food.
The bit that you were doing?
No, I just blubber.
More like oil or...
no.
Hey,
yeah,
we're going to move on to our next segment.
No.
What do
is
you
it a first segment? I guess intro is not a segment.
No, intro is a segment. It's so like...
There's an intro and then the segment.
Intro and the segment, but like intro... Well, yeah, I guess so.
Right? Intro, then segment. The segment is what you've been doing this week, huh? Yeah. I'm going to throw it to Brian and I'm going to ask him what he's been up to this week. And then I'm going to add a at the end of it just to make it a little annoying. Hey, Brian, what you been up to this week?
So
was that a douche chill or a cum chill? What kind of chill was that?
That was because of your
Yeah, no, I know.
Oh, you knew what caused it.
Yeah. I know how it went down. I knew
that
reaction.
you wanted to make it a little more annoying, and even though I didn't feel that, I made
you
a play
went along
of
with
it.
the bit.
Yeah, exactly.
I felt it from Dylan that it was that he was annoyed.
He is radiating.
He's over to
arousal.
my left. It's a little bit of a sting in the air.
And now he's with the seals, and they're all kind of looking at this way.
What you been up to this week, huh?
I watched a movie called Corner Office.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
I wrote the entire description if you want that instead of this.
In this workplace comedy reminiscent of Office Space and Severance, misfit Orson finds himself trapped in the absurdities of corporate life. As the authority's newest employee, Orson finds it difficult to connect with his enigmatic deskmate, Rakesh. As well as with the rest of his colleagues, his alienation deepens when he discovers a room he's told doesn't exist. A place that unleashes his true potential, leading to an ascent up the corporate ladder.
Yes.
Did you like this flick?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Really
starring John Hamm and Danny Pudi.
I had never
Pudi.
I had never heard of it, but I looked it up and watched the trailer after you mentioned it, and reviews are not kind.
Oh, really?
At all.
I could see it.
It's like a 22%, and then audience scores like sub 50.
Yeah. I saw like the highest review that I saw of it was like 4.7 aggregate, kind of something like that. And Tamara and I were like, what's with these people?
Basically, I was wondering, like, is it?
What did you think?
Line?
I loved it. It was awesome, but it's a different kind of thing, right? It a lot of the words that they used in that to describe it are what I would use to describe it, right? It's like the
deskmate,
absurd, enigmatic,
trapped,
alienating,
and
these other things. Yeah, I would say.
I wasn't going to keep going.
That was it.
Ladder.
Just read the whole thing again.
Yeah.
In this workplace comedy.
No, do it.
So
tell us more about your thoughts.
Yeah, it was this like corporate absurdism kind of thing in this very
enigmatic
atmosphere. Actually, enigmatic would not be. It is enigmatic, but that's not what stood out to me. It's like this mood that you're in. It's like a heightened reality. There's a lot of low camera shots kind of thing.
Sure.
The guy who plays his boss is this very almost Vincent Price like quality.
In the trade, he I think I'd seen him before play like a German in another movie, like a brooding German in another movie. He's got that kind of face. Yeah, where he's just like put him in a uniform
sinister,
and he growls. And he even has a tiny mustache, right?
I don't recall. But
I'll
they didn't focus on it.
I will.
So anyway, it's very interesting. I definitely got like Severance vibes
I didn't
from
finish.
this, right?
I loved it.
Oh, really good. This is a different kind of thing, and it's the corporate, not surreal, absurdist thing that is the major similarity, obviously. So yeah, it's really interesting. He finds this room. He goes in it. It's this like perfectly well appointed room. It's very comfortable. He loves it, and the other, and he like looks better in there. He thinks better, and the other people are like freaking out, right? They're like, why does he get to do this? And I get, he can't just act this way, right? And so he's going there is very, very strange to them. Yeah. And it's a focal point of the movie, but it's interesting. There's an interesting theme, which isn't really harped upon. I just thought of it as I was thinking about it later. He's, like they say, he rises the corporate ladder when he's doing things in this room, and they all find it very odd. And it's the rumination of he's really good as long as he does this strange thing, right? And they have a problem with him doing this strange thing, even though he is
it doesn't hurt anyone.
Doesn't hurt anyone.
Okay,
it's just odd, and it's not something that that isn't really driven into you while you're watching it, but it's present, and the ups and downs that come from that. And it's really cool. It was this little experience, this slow but captivating experience where there's he works in this gigantic faceless building. The Authority is the name of the corporation. They have to wear booties in the office. Think about the floor.
Oh,
yes.
That's like the first line in the trailer.
Yeah. We like to think about the floor.
Well, how did you watch this?
I watched it on the Roku channel. Now it was available for $5.99, and we thought, I don't know. Do we want to do that? And while I was watching it, it felt weirdly okay that there were commercials, but every time there was a commercial, I was like, fuck. There's I was just getting into this, this vibe, this mood. And it's entrancing. And looking back, like the $5.99 would have been worth it.
I've been having problems with, you know what? I'll save it till you come to me.
Okay.
It'll be related.
Well, and also John Hamm. Awesome. You're right. John Hamm is always great. And he plays this the subtleties with which he reveals like who this character is, as opposed to who this character thinks that he is to himself, because it's all narrated. He is the major voice in this movie.
Hamm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just narrated, and other people talk, but his narration is fantastic. It's excellent.
Okay. It seems interesting. I still have on my to watch list is Fletch, and I know you loved it.
Yeah.
And the 5th season of Fargo. He's like the dude.
I've heard it's good.
Yeah, we're on it's a Hamasance.
Hamasance, yeah.
Yeah, the resurgence of the ham.
Were you hammed before?
Ham 2M. I've been hammed in the past.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was Team Ham.
Team Ham. Good Omens.
Double M's.
Ooh.
I've hammed it up a couple of times.
Hey, you hamming it up right now?
Good Omens. He's delightful, but I mean, Ham from way back. Yeah, he's
Gabriel in Good Omens, and then in season 2 is a major player in the show. Yeah.
Even Mad Men Ham in the Mad Men.
That was his original ham for many people.
Yeah.
And all the stuff he did with Tina Fey. Ham it up. He's a hammer.
30 Rock.
Oh, 30 Rock Ham.
Yes.
Oh, I love 30 Ham.
30 Rock Ham, Kimmy Schmidt Ham. Ham.
I wanted to love Kimmy Schmidt so much. I was so primed for that show because I love Tina Fey, and I really liked that actress in The Office.
Ellie Kemper.
Yes. I was so excited.
Yeah.
And then
I heard it was really good too.
I
did not get into it.
I couldn't do it.
Not your ham.
It takes.
He was not my ham.
He's a cult leader in it. It's great.
Yeah.
It takes
I did see that bit.
a season.
Yeah.
Is that right? Because I did not stick with it either, but I saw
I don't find the other characters charming at all. Like, I do not find Titus Andromedus to
he's
be
amazing.
Every time he's on screen, I'm kind of wishing he wasn't.
I find him amazing. I
mean, a lot of people do. It's minority.
It's an early Netflix show. It was designed as a drop. It is not a week-to-week kind of experience. It's chunks. And it takes about half the first season to really
get into it.
Really flow because the show is incredibly absurdist.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not non sequitur.
It's non sequitur. It's non sequitur and it's absurdist. If you're not there's a specific tone to it. Now, it only really stays funny for 3 seasons. But the show keeps going. I think it's 5.
Okay.
Because you can't sustain that kind of absurdity for too long. At least for me. Right. After a while, it's just
another of the same.
Okay.
I guess I just wanted. I guess I was expecting more
48 years of that
or something.
I understand. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Let me say this Corner Office is based on I don't know if it's a novel or a novella, a short story called The Room, right? And I haven't not read that, but it really feels like it could have been a short story before this. The vibe of it's a literature of a movie.
Yeah,
I
understand.
Yeah, very well crafted. So,
Take it.
No.
Yo,
what have you been up to this week, huh?
Well, we just got past Valentine's Day.
You got past it.
We got past it. We survived another Valentine's Day. It's February 14th for anybody that don't know, Valentine's Day.
And February 15th you survived as well.
I survived 14th and today is the 21st. I think it was assumed that
he's on a roll
this whole time.
Yeah.
He's just killing it, dude.
Yeah.
Bravo.
A whole 7 fucking days, my dude. Right. So for Valentine's Day, I made my wife a charcuterie board or a choo-choo cootie board. I don't know if you're
choo-choo cootie board.
It's meats, cheeses, fruits, vegetables, the whole nine.
All right.
Yeah, it sounds like a butt train.
We were just gonna.
Is that what you think a cootie is?
Choo-choo cootie?
Is that a cootie to you?
That's the other one.
I guess that's a cootie.
No, choo-choo cutty. How about that? Is that better?
Choo-choo plenty? Choo Choo Cuddy.
Shootery.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we were prepared to like sit down and watch something. However, we did not decide beforehand what we were going to watch. So went through the whole thing of like, it had to be something comfortable, but not something weird. Like it just needed to have that right tone. So then it hit me while I was scanning. What is the most romantic movie from 1997?
Hold on a second.
What was it?
Is it Con Air?
It's Con Air.
The most, I would say most romantic of 97 is kind of underplaying it.
How do I?
Are you thinking like late 90s?
90s, like 95
would you go 90 to 2010?
Yeah.
So basically, the decade of the 90s is basically defined by how successful and romantic Con Air is. Starring Nicolas Cage as Cameron Poe, John Cusack, John Malkovich, Steve Buscemi, Ving Rhames,
John
Monica
Cusack
Potter.
is in that. Oh, is he the guy on the ground talking to
Vince
him?
Larkin. Cole Meany,
right. Vince Larkin.
Danny Trejo, Dave Chappelle.
Before he was well-known. Steve Buscemi, did you say him?
Yes.
Cool.
Oh, nice.
A gajillion people.
Yeah. Monica Potter.
Who
was very fond
that
of.
plays Trisha Poe.
His wife.
That's right. I think you've seen the movie.
I did see the movie in theaters.
What?
His hand, he was registered also as a man who could kill.
Okay. I don't know if anybody has seen this movie or seen it in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's and I don't say this lightly. It's fucking stupid.
Is that right?
It's a dumb movie.
But they're on that plane.
But we watched the shit out of it. We watched the shit out of it hard.
Oh yeah.
It starts with he's
hard and wet.
He's
wet.
An army ranger who comes back and protects his wife and accidentally kills a guy, but he's a human weapon, so they put him away for 8 years.
They registered him as that.
I don't know if there was an actual registration process or any kind of like.
But I thought it was like you knew.
Nothing was sealed and pressed by a notary in order to make him a weapon. But I feel like what the point was made.
I thought it was like a legal thing where they're like, listen, you were trained in these things, so the fact that you did this is
a human weapon.
More.
In the world of Con Air, that is legal precedent.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, nobody thinks he registered for this or did whatever official papers he had to fill out.
It is a precedent, and it's called Poe's Law. It's a Cameron Poe law that he is a human weapon.
I guess he's just open carry at this point, right?
I mean,
you can't really hide
with those guns.
He just walks around.
Anyway, for those of you who have never seen this stupid fucking movie, man is put in jail for 8 years, doesn't get to meet his daughter. Nicolas Cage is put in jail. Yeah. Nicolas Cage with
respect him.
Oh man,
it's not a mullet, but it's also not a mullet.
Yeah,
it's
long hair,
but it's slicked.
It's party in the back, right?
But there's hair on the sides. It's just like
there's a party
slicked
also in the front.
And in the front.
His hair.
It's a 360 party.
It's a 360
Conservatively,
party.
his hairline starts in the middle of his head.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's a masterpiece.
So he's trying to get home.
He's trying to get home. Like he is last day in prison, paroled on transport to back to Georgia, Alabama.
That fucking accent.
Georgia, Alabama.
Georgia, Alabama.
City in Alabama.
It's a small town in Alabama, Texas.
Yeah. It is Georgia, Alabama is a small town within Alabama, Texas.
Alabama, Texas is the town in Georgia County, which is
in Alabama. I got you.
Do you want to know the zip code? I know all 8 numbers. No,
thank you.
He's on his way home to meet his daughter for the first time. Buys her a stuffed bunny. Can't wait to get home. However, the plane that they are on, is hijacked by other terrible criminals, and because he's a former Army Ranger, he can't leave the plane and the innocent people on it behind. So he just keeps trying to communicate with the marshals on the ground and thwarting the bad guys on the plane.
Wait, there's innocent people on the plane? It's not just a prison transport?
The guard, it is a prison transport, but the guards also his best friend who is like a petty criminal who's being transported also.
I forgot about that.
And his friend is diabetic and doesn't get his insulin, so he's like, and then he gets shot. Oh. Anyway, the movie doesn't hold up in a lot of ways, but it also holds up in a lot of ways. The one-liners don't hit. The accent, terrible.
He does an accent?
Oh,
Who does an accent?
It's awful.
I feel like
Cage,
everyone does an accent.
Yeah, it's awful.
It's really terrible. But there is a distinct aesthetic to the movie that you don't really see anymore. It is like high contrast, sepia tone. Everyone is excellent at everything. It's like it almost feels like a European action movie. Now it's like after the Bourne movies, action movies became something else, and they're not like this anymore. And I kind of missed it and didn't realize I did. And it's just pure bug nuts fun and stupid. Like, it was a really, really fun watch. But now, what I didn't enjoy and I didn't sign up for was there are commercial breaks on Hulu.
Oh no!
And I lost my shit the first time because it comes at it happens in a moment that you shouldn't get a commercial. It's just like inserted in, and I'm like, why do I pay for this?
Yep.
And then
I feel like we had this conversation on the show, and everyone was yelling at me, and I was like, shouldn't we? Like, if I'm paying for something,
I think this was a dream that you had. You brought it up before the show, and we didn't get to talk about it.
I usually don't have a problem with commercials in general. I don't have a problem with commercials in general if the content I'm watching has built-in kind of commercial breaks. So TV shows that I'm watching streaming, they literally do have like act breaks where you insert a commercial.
Right.
It like feels in motion like that should happen. That's fine.
Flow.
It's part of the flow. Right. Just arbitrarily in the middle of a scene in a freaking movie, that is a kill. And honestly, too, one of the coolest, this happened. We're both sitting there watching this terrible movie. Commercial comes out of nowhere. And we were bitching, and my wife and I were bitching and moaning at each other for a second about the commercials. And I was like, I should just go down to the basement where all the DVDs are and pull this out. And she was just like, good thing you kept all those. You were right about physical media. I was like,
and you did do that.
No, I didn't go to the basement yet, but I will keep this movie. It's such a good dumb movie. I do miss these types of earnest action movies. I don't feel like they really happen much anymore.
How does it compare to The Rock?
I want to rewatch
The Rock. To me is like
The Rock is
good,
but also Face Off.
Face Off's the best.
Why would that change their face, right? They're just putting the skin. We were just having this conversation the other day.
Like, as soon as you get into like but how would that really work?
Not even really work, right?
It's not
but
even,
like your face looks the way it does because of the bone structure and cartilage underneath it.
I mean, but I think if I took his face off and wore it, I would all of a sudden be slightly shorter.
They do make. When was the last time you saw the movie? Because they do make a bunch of
in the theaters
cockamamie like reasons.
Like, this is why it works. That's fine.
We're gonna shave his jaw here, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do like
whatever. That's fine.
Like it's all throwaway dialogue. But if you really start to analyze that, it's just like, this maybe not be the movie for you.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. The last time I saw it was in the theaters. They're doing another one, I think, right?
What? No.
Face Off 2?
No, I don't know.
What?
Anyway, we'll get back to you about that.
Okay. Another Con Air.
Steve Buscemi in that movie is awesome.
Yeah. So weird. You asked The Rock. I think The Rock. I haven't watched The Rock in a while, but I'm gonna now. I think it is a better movie, air quotes, like just of all the acting. It takes itself seriously. This movie doesn't take itself seriously. But I think the action is different in how it's produced because Michael Bay is very like to the wall, not as colorful and a little like chaotic. Whereas Simon West, the director of this, it's all very staged and it's all very like opulent. There's a scene in the movie where he literally just walks through the chaotic plane, gets shot in the arm, doesn't flinch, and it's more like almost messianic. Whereas The Rock, it's just there's always dirt flying. It's like a war picture. I think the aesthetic is completely different.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, that's a good point.
Anyway,
indeed,
Con Air. Available now on Hulu. Go check it out.
I want to go watch it again.
I'm gonna watch The Rock probably this week, just because What do you? I mean, JD.
Hey. JD. Yeah, it's me.
What have you been up to this week?
Oh, thank you for asking.
Review?
You piece of shit. So I've been up to this week. I think the same thing that Noel was also up to while during the commercial breaks
before and after
Con Air.
Yeah,
he was binging True Detective season 4.
That's true.
Did you have a separate TV?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I watch most media like it's meant to be watched, and that's on my phone.
Of course.
No,
of course. Did you have commercial breaks in what you were watching? We both did.
True Detective season 4 was streaming on Max. And I remember watching. Have you ever seen any of the True Detective seasons?
No, I've heard season 1 is really good.
I feel like you would like season 1.
When we talked about it last week, I think.
I just recently watched it. I think you would really like season 1.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Philosophical conversations.
Basically.
Yeah.
So it wrapped up, and I loved it. Question mark.
Yes, you did.
But I do have some nitpicks
caveats.
Some caveats.
Interesting.
But I can't spoil it for you, so I don't want to spoil the show for you. But I do like the acting is wonderful. The staging is wonderful. The special effects are quite good, actually.
The special effects?
It's a very well produced show.
Yeah, it's the money's in there. And I really enjoy the dialogue. I enjoy these characters. There is an actress who is was she a wrestler?
I don't know. I'll look it up. You keep talking.
Yeah.
In the real world?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's like a fighter turned actor. And so basically it takes place in Alaska and the nighttime has just set and it is a long nighttime.
Long night.
It's like 3 weeks of night. I think it's something like that.
Is that the name of
Kelly Reese?
Kelly Reese.
Thank you.
Callie Reese.
Callie Reese.
But yeah, did you guys hear that Hellboy has a new movie coming out this year? Hellboy the Crooked Man. I did not hear that.
It's directed by one of the two Neville Dean and Taylor guys.
The live action?
Yeah.
Who's Hellboy?
Somebody you've never heard of.
Okay, great.
Who's
that?
So for context of those that aren't, so in the chat, Terry jumped in and asked if we had heard about a new Hellboy movie that's coming this year. Yes.
One of us has, and now all of us have.
And now we all have, yeah.
Right.
So anyway, Noel, what did you think of True Detective? Because I mostly loved it. But I felt a little flat with the finale.
I enjoyed the journey. I thought it was really, really awesome and super engrossing. And the way that the central mystery wrapped up was incredibly satisfying. But there were some choices and some like weird threads that they pulled and never followed up on that felt fan servicey? Yeah. Is that even a thing in a show like this?
I'll tell you what, it is because so you were talking about this earlier in the shop where there are all these references to season 1.
There's a couple of references to season 1
of True Detective. And that's because the creator of this show, what's her name?
Issa Rae? No. Issa Lopez.
Issa Lopez, who is the showrunner for this season, had pitched the show Night Country, and then HBO was like, great, make it a True Detective.
Okay.
So that's why all of these sort of ham-fisted references to season 1 are in there because they didn't exist. And then she kind of had to put them in there because they wanted it to be a True Detective show instead of just calling it Night Country.
So there's a point. Yes, Terry said he stopped watching after episode 4. Terry, 2 things. 1, yes. 2, there's only 6 episodes, my dude. Finish it. You're more than halfway.
2 more.
Yeah, finish it. The central mystery has a very, very good wrap up. One that does explain away what you thought might be supernatural. However, there's a couple of references that are made that don't serve any story purpose.
Yes.
And it bugs me.
Yeah.
Like, why do it if it doesn't actually serve the larger tale you're telling? Now, if it's just to like vibes or member berries, I don't really respect that as much. I don't.
Yeah. But I also don't blame Issa. I blame I blame HBO for making her shoehorn all of that into this season to make it feel like a True Detective show. This could have just been Night Country.
There's 2 bits of references. One being the connection to mines and stuff that doesn't need any kind of resolution. It's just a cool connection, and that it could have ended there. But there's like some dialogue repeated and some like things that other people wouldn't know that are said, and that goes nowhere. So like the first bit of connecting it to the larger world, cool, easy, totally doable. When you make it seem like it's an important part of the plot and it ends up not being, or seeming to not be, I have a little less patience.
Also, it's important that to note that I didn't know any of those references to season 1 because I watched it so long ago that I forgot that there was a spiral involved.
There's a spiral. And they mention it?
So like all of the things that everyone's upset about, I didn't catch as references to anything or think that I'd put any more importance on it than I should have because I didn't know that that was a reference to a previous thing.
Like this is going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
Right.
I was just like, oh, that was a line in the show.
Yeah.
You know?
Also, there's a
time is a flat circle. That was a cool little thing.
There's a part of the first season. The first season does come off, honestly, at a lot of points to be supernatural. However, they kind of create this character beat of what's his name? McConaughey's character, so many years of deep undercover and having tried so many different psychotropic drugs, he does have moments where he starts to see things, has flashbacks, sees skies moving in weird ways. So for the duration of the show, you're not exactly sure, is this really happening or is this one of his flashbacks that he has to ride through? So that's how that show deals with it. This one is just seems like weird shit.
I don't know.
I don't know. It feels less, as good as this show was. First of all, the bar is just real freaking high, but it feels less nuanced. It feels less intentional when it comes to the connections. Yeah. But still really worth watching.
I definitely left the season feeling good.
Absolutely.
Like I have a good feeling about the season.
Nice.
Terry says, it's too damn supernatural. I'll do it out of my respect for CultPop.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you.
Spoilers, it's not really as supernatural as you think, Terry. Just go ahead and finish it.
Yeah,
finish it up, Terry. You know, I think it's really interesting when a story starts out like this. She pitched it as Night Country, and they say make it True Detective. When you hear about, I've heard about mostly in comics, when a story idea was originally written for one character, and then it's like, oh, it was this, turned out to be this big story for another character. Like, it was going to be a Daredevil story, but then he got taken off of Daredevil and stared writing Batman, so he repurposed. And it's just interesting that you can do that even.
Peter David famously was writing Supergirl with who wasn't actually a Supergirl. It was Matrix. An alien called the Matrix, who was taking the form of not Carol Danvers.
Linda Danvers.
Linda Danvers.
Yes.
And then he left that book and then just created a whole new series to finish that story up.
That's interesting too.
Yeah.
But I think that's...
What series?
I
Angel,
forget. I always wanted to read it.
Something Angel.
Because I loved that Supergirl run. And I didn't know about that until years later, that's what it was.
That was related.
That's interesting. But then also... when they repurpose it for an existing character that's already like this in True Detective, but you know, it's like just change some of the beats and different themes emerge and whatever.
The Make It a Night Country, no other season has connected to the other. It's an anthology show. So it was her choice to connect it explicitly. It could have just been another True Detective.
Or just called it True Detective Night Country, and they don't mention flat circles.
Every other True Detective season has been its own anthology thing, period. They're not connected. So it was a choice to connect these that I'm not exactly sure I'd agree with. It was strong enough on its own, did not need that.
Agreed. It only detracted from the experience.
Yeah, it pulled away.
Yeah, I agree. All right, main topic time. We're going to talk about
best movie.
Madam Webb.
Oh, I forgot.
Ryan, did you go see Madam Webb?
No, I saw it. I just forgot now that we were going to talk about it.
We'll get there.
So we're going to talk about Madam Webb and not spoil it. And then we will give you our thoughts. And then we'll let you know when it's spoiler time. And then we're going to spoil this movie. This is directed by S.J. Clarkson. Did she direct anything else?
Lots of television.
Written by Jason Fuchs.
Oh, no, wrong one. Don't worry about it.
Cool. And starring Dakota Johnson, Sydney Sweeney, Isabella Merced, and Adam Scott. Cassandra Webb is a New York City paramedic who starts to show signs of clairvoyance. Forced to confront revelations about her past, she must protect 3 young women from a mysterious adversary who wants them dead. Chris Dunn says, can we keep talking about Nick Cage movies instead?
Sure. He might be doing Spider-Man Noir, some rumor mills suggest.
Chris, I will talk about Nick Cage movies any day.
I've come around.
Yes.
I don't know. For long-time viewers, I hated Nick Cage. And his past 10 years of films have kind of grabbed me.
We're never not in a Cage-a-sance.
He's constantly caging.
He's
cagey that way.
He's caging against the machine.
That way.
I love him.
He's against it.
Brian.
Hey.
I'm going to throw it to you.
About Madam Webb?
About Madam Webb.
Okay. Yeah.
No spoilers. I know you're excited to spoil.
I am.
Stop it.
I'm just always so excited
Ease
to
it back.
Spoil it.
Roll it out.
Things.
What did you think about Madam Webb?
Interesting.
I think my headache just came back.
I did not really like the...
What? You didn't like when it ended? Because it was so good.
Yeah, you were like, why not more?
Yeah.
Why not more, I said.
I'm waiting for...
I screamed it.
I'm waiting for Madam Webb, more good stuff.
Yeah.
That's the next one. More good stuff.
Can't stop, won't stop.
The Unstoppable Madam Web.
Yeah, I did not really enjoy this film. There were a number of aspects of it that I found unenjoyable. So
visuals, sounds.
The visuals were okay. Some of them.
How was the popcorn?
Adam Scott was good.
Did you get popcorn?
Adam Scott's always good. He's
okay.
Adam Scott's always Adam
great.
Scott.
Adam Scott has never made me have an emotion other than like, that's funny.
Ben. And I mean, I'm not calling you Ben. He played a character named Ben
in this movie
and in Parks and Rec.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But also, it's funny. He very often plays a jerk, which is like Ben in Parks and Rec is one of his major like nice guy roles. So I liked him. There's an early conversation that they're having that they set up an obvious joke for her, and then she uses it to do some exposition instead.
Yeah.
And let's see. Villainous motivations, lack of fulfillment of various things. I couldn't say I liked it all that much. How about you?
You could say it.
I could say it. In fact, I said it while saying I couldn't say it. I said it.
Noel.
Yeah.
Can you say whether you liked it or not?
I did not enjoy this movie that much. However, I won't.
You did like Con Air.
I refuse. I love Con Air.
Yeah.
Love Con Air.
Preface or
and
postface this by saying
this to Con Air is a spit in the face of Mr. Con as well as Mrs. Air.
Mrs. Air.
Just
they are married to each other, but okay, all right.
She kept her surname.
They're separated.
That's cool. They're separated.
Separated. They're still together.
Okay.
To make the beautiful union that is the 1997 romantic picture.
Con Air.
Yeah.
Directed by Simon West. Produced by Jerry Bruckheimer.
Who's the best boy?
Signor Grippy.
I thought he was.
I didn't think this. This wasn't a good movie.
No,
I did not enjoy this movie.
No,
I think it wasn't. Production wise, it wasn't impressive. Pacing wise, it wasn't impressive. It seemed like everyone was sleeping through it. The ADR was through the fucking roof. There were people like I don't think the main bad guy has dialogue that wasn't recorded after the fact.
You think through the roof in the amount that there was?
Yes, I was using it. I was using it as a metaphor.
Yeah. No, I wasn't sure if you meant that.
Like through the roof, it was awesome.
Not like you could hear it like they're in another room and you hear it through the roof.
Like through the roof. Although sometimes they're on a roof.
I meant it so much. It's like it exploded through the roof metaphorically that it's been overused.
I thought you might have meant either that or the quality of like how well they did it.
Was through the roof.
I mean?
No. The amount of times
negative in both ways.
The amount of time it seemed necessary was through the roof. Okay. And it like halfway through the movie, I realized like I don't think we've ever seen him speak dialogue and his mouth move at the same time.
It was one of his powers,
basically. But. On paper, if I wrote down like the plot of this movie and like the character interactions, the plot and the goal, I can see what was attractive to all these actors because none of these people are bad.
Oh, I heard there were major scripture it's like more than normal.
But I'm talking about so like
if to sign on originally.
No, I mean like they signed on to a different movie.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like,
right. Spider-Man.
But even the movie that kind of comes through the idea of like, okay, a paramedic, a medic that can randomly see the future and at different moments, what they can possibly do with it. At the same time, she is emotionally unavailable and does not want human connections, but has to care for these three younger girls who she sees in her visions getting hurt. Sure. That whole dichotomy and the potential of that, I could totally see why all these people signed up for it. And throw on the extra layer of it's really kitschy and cute that it's 2003. That's Ben Parker and his sister-in-law is pregnant. Like you've got these little Easter eggs that are obvious, but not so obvious that this could be kind of almost a cute exploration of a period of time. I see that. And that could have been good. This doesn't even follow through with any. And I didn't think it was it wasn't a fun experience. It wasn't bad. Jeff Kanata said this and I'm going to steal it. It wasn't even bad enough to be fun.
Yeah, no.
It was just it was just kind of boring.
Yeah.
And that's upsetting.
Yeah.
So, for my take, I was worried about going to see this movie
Because of all the crowds?
Because of last week, I did not want to go see, what was the movie we talked about last week?
I don't remember. Time is a flat circle.
It was really 2 weeks ago.
Argyle. I did not want to go see Argyle. And then I wound up kicking and screaming, deciding that I was like, this was fun. This was actually kind of fun. It's terrible, but it's so terrible that it comes back around again for me and was kind of fun.
All right.
And I was like, oh man, I'm going to go see this Madam Web. What if I like it? I was starting to think, like, do I just make excuses to like things? Like, do I just not, am I not critical enough? Am I going to go see Matt? I guess.
Kind of.
Not for a review show.
You enjoy things more. You could say fun, funny, positive things.
I just was very relieved that I saw this and absolutely hated it.
Oh, what a load off.
This was, I was stressed
validated.
out.
And this was the time.
So, there's nothing good about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that I thought could have been interesting.
Sure.
Even something that I liked, which was you had mentioned Dakota Johnson's character, Madam Webb, the titular Webb, was like, I don't like kids. I don't want to have connections to kids. These kids suck. And the way she treated those kids and talked to those kids, I was like, oh, I like this. I like that she has sort of this attitude, this like, I don't really want to be here. I don't want to be helping you. I can't wait to drop you off at the nearest
she was not into it.
Just to get rid of you kids.
She literally drops them off in the woods.
In age.
Like, don't die. Bye.
Yeah.
I'll be back in a couple hours.
But then I realized
a couple of hours.
3 hours. Give me 3 hours.
But then I realized watching her interviews, oh, that's just her. All of her interviews, she just has the exact same face, the same nothing blank stare face that she has throughout this movie is just kind of, I think, the actor. So even that was like, oh, okay, she's just being that way, just the way she is. There was nothing enjoyable about this movie for me. Noel had asked me, because I had seen him shortly after seeing it. He said, well, when did it lose you? And I was like, during the first scene.
Yeah. Okay.
The very first scene, I started to see the cracks and be like, oh no.
Yeah.
You mean the whole opening, or the
Amazon part, or
the Amazon part?
Yeah.
The back half of the Amazon part is some of the worst things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
What happened in the back half?
You see the Aranya?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And they're like, she'll come back. This is spoiler. It's the second scene in the movie. They're like, she'll come back when she has to.
We'll be waiting.
Ready.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing redeemable about this movie. I don't think anybody in it was particularly engaging, interesting. I don't think there is not a bit of dialogue in this movie that I found believable or funny or sad. Like, there was nothing.
So
for me to grab onto.
I was talking about, I think that they set up.
What was it?
Oh, well, so they're sitting in the EMT break room eating food, and she's like, he's trying to get her to go out and do something. Yeah. Be like, do this. I'm busy. Do this, and I'm busy. She's giving various excuses. She's like, I have to walk the dog. Like, you don't have a dog. I have to adopt a dog.
Yeah.
Well, I could return the favor. Like, say, and then walk it.
Yeah.
Like, is the obvious joke, but I still would have enjoyed it. But they're like, no, we really have to hammer home that her mom died. They only saw it a few minutes ago, and so that she was adopted.
I'm an orphan.
Yeah. There's a lot of exposition in this movie.
So much.
In dialogue.
So Robert Monroe Jr. asked in the chat, wow, is this even worth watching when it's streaming?
Not.
Probably not. But I think
you can skip to the very end. And
every time I ask him, do you recommend this movie? He flutters around it. You're like, no.
I don't flutter.
You do.
I do.
I love to flutter.
I'm sorry.
Right?
Go ahead.
So I do think there's an interesting conversation online going on right now about how to approach this movie, because by all available metrics, it's just not very good. Like, from bad to
including,
terrible.
Did we enjoy it?
Yeah.
Well, like, financially, it's not very good. Structurally, it's not very good. There's a critical consensus by people that aren't just bloviating YouTubers and reactionaries, which includes us.
Yeah.
People who actually put thought into how they approach something, that it is not a very good movie. Now, there is a conversation happening online how to approach or how to talk about this without just shitting on people's work.
Yeah.
Because there is, but the nuance in the internet, my dude. I think that's a better conversation because honestly, Chris, could Nick Cage have saved this movie? Yes. 100% yes. Yeah. Because he would have understood the assignment.
Like if he was playing Madam Web.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. But what I think is a better conversation or a more interesting conversation is it's very difficult to make a movie. It's even more difficult for literally every aspect of the movie to fall short, which a lot of people, I know everything. Yeah. A lot of people are pointing at, I think this is a systemic issue with Sony Pictures, with how they meddle into or corporatize their, because if you think about all of the other Spider-Man, I'm not counting Sony Animation, they are literally their own bubble.
I understand.
But before
JD,
somebody,
just cool it.
Well, no, it's just because I don't want to keep talking at that. I would not count Sony Animation with their Spider-Verse movies. No. They literally exist in a bubble and do their own thing for 5 years straight.
They're not trying to start a Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man.
Without Spider-Man.
Right.
So like the idea of all of these pushed out spider adjacent movies, honestly, none of them have been good. Some of them have been fair.
Right.
Like I think the first Venom is fun. Mm-hmm. It's not good.
It's not good, but I at least had fun watching it.
Right.
But then after that, we get Venom 2, Morbius. Is there another one I'm missing in there? Like,
I think there might be, but I don't remember.
Craven is coming.
Craven is coming.
Craven's coming.
It's a good tagline.
The other two. So like, I did like Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh yeah,
those are good.
But Amazing Spider-Man in them. Amazing Spider-Man 2 was fine.
Yeah, it was fine. It was Spider-Man. I mean, I enjoyed it.
I think aesthetically it was great, and there was a lot of really good actors in it, but the movie was stupid as hell. Yeah. But like the diminishing returns of how they're approaching this property feels like it's just keeping a copyright.
Yeah.
As opposed to like
that might probably part of it.
Making art.
Right.
So the thought that I had while watching this movie was, all right, so in the Wayback Machine, we'll climb in and we'll go back to, I would say 96 when Scream happened. Oh. And Scream
is right before Con Air, about a year before Con Air.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Scream paved the way for Con Air.
It's Con Air BC, Con Air AD.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that's how I
BC and AC.
It's Con Air BC.
Con Air BC.
BCCA.
So Scream came out and it rejuvenated the horror genre, the slasher genre. Before that, it was like a bunch of shitty Friday the 13th sequels and Hellraiser sequels. It was
long in the tooth.
Not a single Juve.
Not a single Juve?
Not a single Juve was to be had. Okay. So then Scream happened. They rejuvenated the horror as a genre. And so as I was watching this, I thought this feels like the same way I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. What was it? Final Cut. What was the other one?
Urban Legends Final Cut. Like they just started pumping them out with nary a care to quality, script, anything. Nary a one.
And
this felt like that to me. Of just like, we're just going to pump out superhero movies. It doesn't really matter who's in it, what it's about. Etc. We're just going to pump these out, and that's sort of how.
I wouldn't even. So also the larger conversation of superhero fatigue. I would not even compare this to MCU movies. Because
I'm annoyed that people call it a Marvel movie.
Yeah, it's not even a less than good. Even a bad Marvel movie is leagues more competently produced and plotted and put together than this.
Than these Sony movies, for the most part, I would say.
Yeah, like
all of them.
Even people that like shit on Quantumania and Love and Thunder. Those movies,
still fun stuff in those movies.
Those movies are masterpieces compared to how much this movie fell apart. Yeah. It literally, it feels like I'm holding sand when I'm watching this movie because there's nothing to hold on to.
Well, I think they definitely want.
It's very porous.
It is very porous, like the Sandman. I think they definitely obviously want to start a universe, and they've been trying to do this for quite a while, and they're tried again with this movie, and what happens and what could happen after this movie, and just like, I could see them wanting this to be the prequel to what they're doing.
The way this movie ends, we won't spoil it.
Right.
But I was like, they think they're going to make more of this.
Right. That like this was the enthralling opening act.
Yeah.
I think they're going to make more of this with those horrible character designs.
Yeah.
Right.
Horrible character designs.
Well, let's.
Oh wait, you didn't. Okay, so that was one thing I liked.
Yeah, let's get to spoilers. Do you have anything you want to say before spoilers?
That was one thing that I liked well enough was like,
I think
those costumes were cool.
I think the costumes look good. I think they are shot in the most ugly way humanly possible.
I can see that.
Like they are like mid soft lit CW looking bullshit on the big screen. It just doesn't look good. And then how they treat the titular Madam Webb herself.
Oh my God.
Even in current comics, it's very subdued, like sunglasses, trench coat kind of chill.
And auburn hair now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they put her in like a weird ass visor. Like I didn't understand.
Over designed to hell.
I didn't understand the jump from I'm laying in a hospital bed to.
We're in spoilers now?
We're in spoilers.
This is getting
I was asking if there's anything before spoilers.
Yeah.
So
that was pre-spoiler.
Sorry, guys.
There's costumes.
She wears sunglasses at the end.
Sure.
There's costumes.
We're going to spoil the movie now.
It's happening.
But don't go anywhere. You don't care.
Yeah.
That's fine.
You probably already saw it.
That they did a ham-fisted jump from she falls into the water and I guess a firework flares in her eyes or something. I don't know.
Is that what happened? I thought she was just blinded from the almost drowning and also paralyzed.
I don't know if that is how that works. There was a firework
pressure maybe from being slightly under the water.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's a whole lot of things. We'll get back to that scene. But
throw it in the chat as to why she's now blind
and paralyzed.
But
assuming she is, well, I guess we just sort of assumed that.
She got lazy.
The movie tells us that.
Did the movie say? Oh my God.
The visual representation of how they show her tells us that she is now paralyzed. But she's not even paralyzed in the comics. That's what I'm trying to say. Like if they were going with current continuity or what she looks like now, it's just so weird.
Yeah.
But it was so comically represented that I wanted to scream. Like she's in a hospital bed. This is all the family I need. And it's just these three teenagers that you met 2 days ago.
But she's seen them a lot in the future.
Sure. And then cuts to they're all getting takeout together and they come back to the apartment, the huge apartment that they share with themselves.
Well, she's a paramedic.
That is now blinded and
that are now blinded. And she is like a
paralyzed
huge,
paramedic.
A huge window.
I guess she probably doesn't do that anymore.
Huge webbed window the size of an apartment wall.
Yeah.
In New York, and she's in the center of it, and she just turns around with giant sunglasses that didn't even look like they fit on her fucking face.
Hilarious.
And she just mumbles her dialogue of, "You got me, Kung Pao."
Yeah.
That's okay. Like. I couldn't handle it.
With a little eyebrow twitch or something.
We got you. They didn't have what you asked for, so we got you. Kung Pao chicken.
I know it. Oh, she probably made all that money. I mean, she probably used
because she uses her psychic abilities to just guess what they ordered for her.
Yeah.
And doesn't let them finish sentences.
It's excruciating to them.
So, but it was so comical, but it wasn't funny.
Was it in the future? It was like a little while in the future.
This movie the span of this movie is either 3 days or 70 years.
Yeah.
There's no concept of time and how long time takes.
So the part I was watching the movie and I was like, they're doing this. Okay. So she has to protect these 3 girls.
Mm-hmm.
I guess she'll just get on a plane and go to the Amazon.
I'll be back in a few days.
And just wander the Amazon.
Right.
Hopelessly lost. Just
hey, she's got a book with pictures in it.
That's
true. She does. She does have a journal.
Her abilities were kicking in too.
Only 30 years have passed. That jungle looks the same.
Yeah.
All the beaten paths.
Yeah.
No changes.
So she basically goes to the cave. To do this whole thing in the middle of the goddamn Amazon.
I went to the bathroom at that point.
It's like when
and then comes back and it's like she had been gone 4 hours.
Right. They were like in the woods still, right? And then they left, obviously. But it's like in a sitcom where somebody is like counting down and then someone has a conversation in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And then they're still at the same number.
Yeah.
One of the things, she's a paramedic. One of the things that happens is she sees her friend make a choice and die. The next scene is, hey, we're all going to the service. You should come. And she gets on a train to go. She's wearing jeans and a t-shirt. and it's a comic book accurate outfit, the jeans, t-shirt, and the red trench coat. But the whole scene, all I could think of, you're wearing that shit to a wake?
Yeah.
Right.
You're a part of the FDNY and you're wearing that shit to a wake?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I assume there's probably a uniform or dress blues or
probably.
At least just black, not necessarily stonewashed jeans and a red trench coat.
Yeah.
I didn't even catch that.
I didn't.
But I was so bored at points that small things like that were just
sure.
Okay.
Nothing.
Can I say now that
Sony has? I have a problem with Sony now.
Yeah.
There's just nothing naturalistic about this. Everything feels completely staged. People act in ways that I don't think even teenage girls act, where they're just like, "Well, we're in a diner. Let's just all three of us get
Dance
up on
this table."
Fuck.
What? He was like, "Come on, I'm gonna do it." And then the people there are sitting as though this is like a semi-comic, like, "Oh, those girls are wild," but like this happens. This kind of thing happens. You guys, can I say now that we are in spoilers?
Yes.
This is the first movie in maybe decades that I have thought about walking out in the middle of. You know what I mean? I was like, should I leave? And I mean, I probably wouldn't have anyway, but we're going to talk about it for the show. So I watched, and it was just so much of it was like this adjacent conversations that you see the same thing multiple times, which is our powers, and that's fine. But it gives the movie this very choppy feel.
Yeah.
I saw someone online wonder why Ezekiel, who has the power to, I guess, see the future incorrectly, and,
also, I do have a very important question. Like, why is he wearing a costume?
Yeah, but he also walks around with no shoes, which is like kind of a distinctive look too.
That's the way Ezekiel looked in the comic books.
You could have done 1,000 better stories with the character of Ezekiel Sims.
Right?
Ezekiel Sims isn't even a villain.
No,
he's a good guy.
He seems to be kind of in the beginning and then is not at all.
Yeah.
And he's got the white hair and he's got a cool look with the no shoes and whatever. I saw online somebody pointed out, well, how is he rich?
Yeah.
How did he parlay these abilities into wealth? And also then I was wondering, why was that NSA woman following him? She's following him for some reason.
NSA woman?
So in the very beginning, he like meets her at an opera.
No. Following her. No. He's following her.
Oh, he was following her.
Yeah, he's the Yeah, he gets her attention.
Why does he want her? What was the deal with that?
Well, because so that we could have the exposition of he wakes up from a dream after having slept with her and has to detail his entire life story, why he's having these dreams, the fact that he has to track down these three girls who are going to kill him in the future.
To sleep with to do this?
I mean, just to get her access.
Yeah.
Oh, he needed her access
to get the badge.
Right. Yeah, I forget what he also got from that.
They're able to, from his dreams, just find these three girls.
Right.
Using technology.
Just accurate, very, very accurate drawings, I guess. Photorealistic, really.
Luckily, they were able to take the women in his dreams who he's never seen in person and make photos of them.
In his dreams, they're all masked.
Yeah.
That's true, too.
You're right.
Oh, I didn't even think about it. Does he see them at all in the kind of present time?
Nope. No.
He just sees these CW chicks just beat the shit out of him.
He sees them. Yeah. How many years in the future is it?
Yeah. 15.
Yeah. 10. He sees them. He's, let's say, 15 years in the future.
All I know is that his hair gets dark and then gray again.
Gray.
It's just very gray in this one.
And
but
he's got this
movie, it gets gray
when he was wealthy.
Yeah, he's got this helper who's helping him track these women down using technology. And so she is somehow able to take visions that he had, nightmares that he has in the middle of the night of women who are 15 years older, and then go, here's their casting photos from now.
Here's what they look like
and now,
unmasked and a decade earlier.
Yes.
Right. Very advanced technology. These people have.
I can't really recommend this movie, but I wouldn't put the blame of this movie at the feet of literally anyone associated with. Like, S.J. Clarkson is a really good director. She's done tons of stuff for Game of Thrones, and I think pretty much every good TV show you've heard of in the last decade. She has been a part of the creative team. Most of these actors I really, really like.
Yeah.
The writer has had a couple of like good things. I know, like, it's so weird that, like, again, making a movie and having it all work is like Herculean. It's almost just as hard and impossible for everything to not work. Yeah. It's almost impressive how much this entire thing just falls apart, and that they chose to release it.
Yeah.
Well, once
that's
far
true.
enough in.
Can you imagine what Batgirl was if studios put this out?
A tax write-off.
But also too, like, WB doesn't have to do really anything to maintain the rights of Batman. They could just.
That's true.
But this movie cost, I think, something like $80 million to make, which is technically a bargain for a superhero movie.
Well, there wasn't that much superhero.
I mean,
yeah.
Advertised as a superhero movie, it's a superhero movie.
Oh no, I know. That was just another way that they felt it.
Even if you double the budget in regards to how it was advertised, it doesn't have that hard or that big of a hurdle to clear to maybe a financially like solvent. Still probably won't make it.
Yeah, probably not in theaters.
Yeah, this still probably won't make it. Yeah, like, and a lot of people are celebrating like, oh, they've got their first cult classic. I was like, this isn't even fun enough.
Who is celebrating this?
To be a cult classic. Like Morbius.
At least you got Morbin time.
Morbius had, like, compared to this movie,
it's
Morbius
Madam Webbin
had
time.
Charm. Did you watch Morbius?
I did not see Morbius. Plus, I heard Matt Smith was really good.
He would like it had a logic to it that followed through. Some of the action scenes were actually good, and there were some solid jokes.
It felt like Morbius felt like a movie that came out in between maybe Blade coming out and then like the MCU starting.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Worse than that. I think it came out after Blade 3 before the MCU. Sure. When the Blade movies started going downhill. So like it had that aesthetic of like, oh, this came out 25 years ago. Just nobody told us.
Yeah.
Which has its own kind of charm because the movie itself was pretty earnest. This is just lifeless and it's sad.
And you know what? At the end of the movie,
credits,
I would right before them.
Oh, right before the credits?
I would watch a movie that started there. You know what I mean? Like she's in that penthouse and the three of them are spider-powered characters.
Yeah, that's her, like,
and they go and do stuff.
Chicken.
Like if that was the opening scene of the Madam Web movie,
you would watch them eat dinner.
Yeah. I would, because I really love if she could guess different stuff about the dinner. And there was,
I really want to watch that show. Again, like, I want to watch the sitcom of insufferable Kathy Webb, not letting them do shit. Yeah.
Todd Engel says, before seeing it, I was unhappy Jessica Drew, not Jess Drew, wasn't in it. Now I'm glad she wasn't. And to add another nitpick, Maddie 20 years ago is the age of Maddie now, and Anya too, but Julia now is a grown woman with a kid, and Madam Webb is like way too young, even if she aged 20 years.
Yeah. That's all. Todd is hitting out the history of like the actual characters in the comics.
Oh, I see.
They changed, like Maddie is in the comics, has a kid, or who has a kid? Julia now is grown woman with a kid. So is Jessica Drew at this point too. It's just like I haven't seen Maddie in a long time. I remember Maddie was introduced during the, or at least as far as I was aware, during the John Byrne Chapter 1 era of Spider-Man, where he was writing and drawing it. Which one's Maddie?
Maddie is, in the beginning, when John Byrne takes over the book, Peter Parker has given up being Spider-Man, and there is a Spider-Man out there Spider-Manning. And then it's this big secret of like, who's the other Spider-Man if it's not Peter?
Who was it?
It was teenage girl Maddie.
Whoa. All right.
Exactly.
No. How? What's her origin?
I don't remember her origin, but basically, it was like a teenage girl, but it was drawn by John Byrne, and it looked like a grown man
in Spider-Man costume.
In a Spider-Man costume. Right. But she was like, ha, I'm a teenage girl.
John Byrne doesn't give a shit.
Gotcha.
John Byrne never gave a shit.
You guys, there was so much exposition in this film, right? That they or just said what was happening or things that they didn't want me to see coming that I ended up correctly predicting. You remember the scene? They're hiding out in their hotel room and they're like, this is a crucial part of any CPR class. When you have to learn how to demonstrate group cohesion thematically later on. They're like, you need to trade off
if you get
CPRing.
Right. Check off CPR.
Yeah.
Exactly. This 15 seconds of CPR is too much for you. Risk switching out the rhythm in the middle, because then we'll know you're a team.
Jeez.
Right? You work together.
About that.
But only two of you.
If the person dies, though,
then you're not a team. And if they get blinded and in a wheelchair, so.
Yeah.
I hate this.
It's such.
I really wanted this to be fun, and it wasn't. Unfortunately,
and so the Julia Carpenter Spider-Woman. Right when I started reading comics, I always loved her, and I did really enjoy seeing just a live action depiction of her.
Yeah.
It was only
how did her powers work?
2 minutes total. She has essentially Spider-Man's powers, but she can create these like psychic webs. I don't know if she really swings on them. She just can do other web stuff, web people up and whatever. And she might be able to glide. No gliding. I don't think. But her costume was really cool, and
it is cool.
She was a spider character, and so I always loved Julia Carpenter's Spider-Woman.
What did you guys think of the little tidbits? Like the fact that it's Ben Parker and Peter is obviously born at the end of this movie. That was cool. And
it's fun.
Maddie talks about her uncle.
We don't really know his name.
Yeah,
it's true. They
made a point of not
but she mentions Uncle.
Could be the sister.
Uncle.
Richard.
No.
Ben?
Oh, sorry.
Jonah. Uncle Jonah.
Oh,
because
I didn't
Maddie,
catch that.
Yeah, she says my Uncle Jonah, and that's J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh, is
because
that
Maddie is Jonah's
I didn't know that.
uncle. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that either. Because I never heard of this character before this. But the little tidbit. Oh, and was that Emma Roberts?
Yeah.
Playing Mary Parker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a very small role, possibly because they hope for a
very
sequel.
Small, pivotal.
Yes. I mean,
that whole
side story could not happen without her.
The baby shower scene, like,
I mean, could this,
all the acting in that was so stilted and weird.
Oh my God, right.
Potentially,
and why can't she just stay outside?
Even if, so let's say this is a backdoor origin for Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Okay.
Just for shits and giggles. Because the timing would match up. Yeah. 2003 being born, 2020, like 16, 18.
Sure.
That would match up.
Yeah.
But that means that there would be full ass adults in spider costumes.
Years.
Out doing things. Years.
Before Peter.
Yeah. Before Tony Stark was around. And no one is like, oh yeah, there were those 3 spider.
Remember those 3 spider people?
Yeah. People do talk about everything that's happening in every conversation.
OMG, Emma was the best part of the movie. She does her thing in her few minutes.
It's true.
She did do her thing.
Yeah.
The Parker family was good.
Actually, Adam Scott was.
It was good.
He was fine. He was Adam Scotting.
Exactly.
Okay.
Ernest.
It was boring.
I was in. I mean, right. It's not like
that's the way I feel about Adam Scott.
Seriously? Oh,
yeah. When I say Adam Scott was fine, he Adam Scotted.
Yeah.
He showed up. He had his big head
everywhere,
and he just Adam Scotted.
He's great.
Scotting.
This panel does not react unanimously to Adam Scott.
I like Adam Scott.
He's fine.
He made no difference, positive or negative, to this experience.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was not in much of it, and
he was like the third lead.
It's hard to remember what happened in this movie.
Hey, look, it's I can't in good conscience recommend this movie. No. I mean, if you're fascinated by just how movies become this, or the process of like making it and it still doesn't gel, or it's you know what, this is probably a great film class watch. But other than that,
just real quick. Yeah. Noel asked me when he came to the shop, and he's like, "So what'd you think of the masterpiece, Madam Webb?" Mm-hmm. And I said, "I'm gonna answer that question by explaining to you that 2 seats to my left, there was a gentleman, there was a teenager, and he had his phone out the entire time. The brightness wasn't too bad,
right?
But it was definitely in my periph,
right,
the entire time,
right."
There were a group of, I would say, 5 or 6, 12 to 14-year-olds way up in the front. And at one point, they were so loud and rambunctious, it sounded like they were having a slap fight.
Oh, they were doing a slap fight.
And none of that bothered me.
It did not.
I just sat there just going, good for them.
Yeah. Getting some enjoyment out of this.
Yeah, like... Normally that would enrage me.
Right.
I would be if I could see your phone in the periph.
Oh, it sucks.
I would do things in my power to not see it. I would put my head up. I would do a thing.
Take the phone and smash it on the ground.
There was a kid in front of me years ago. He had his phone out. It was as bright as the goddamn sun, and he was texting somebody. And so I leaned forward and I said, she wants to know what time you'll be there. I could read his text. I read his text to him, and then he was like, "Oh," and he put it away. Drives me up a fucking wall.
And you're right to be driven up.
Thank you.
Wall,
Thank you.
JD. I agree.
But yeah, this time I was like,
trying to watch a movie here.
You know what? This is fine.
And maybe they would not have been doing those things. Who goes to a movie on their phone the whole time?
It's a lot of people.
A lot of people. It has nothing to do with the quality of the movie.
No. Yeah.
Still, this movie.
I also remember thinking, I wish we had a decision. Like, guys, should we discuss Madam Web or Poor Things? Poor Things is still out.
I saw it.
We should have done Poor Things, you guys.
Yeah. Well,
although this was the most fun I've had.
It's about the conversation, not the quality of what we're talking about. Speaking of next week, we're going to talk about the live action Avatar: The Last Airbender show on Netflix.
Yes.
I don't want to say excited, but I am very cautiously optimistic.
I feel like there's between the three of us, you've watched every stitch of it. If you watched the cartoon, old cartoon, not a stitch either. No. Coming in
Stitchless.
new, coming in hot.
Stitchless.
We're gonna talk about the first 2 episodes at least. And
all right.
So join us.
Sounds good. You know what, you guys, you wouldn't recommend the movie at all. You would not recommend the movie at all.
No.
I would say if you can
fascinating.
see the last few minutes, you could do that. If you want to see like some spider stuff, I'm talking the last like 4 minutes
I don't
of
think
this
that
movie.
looked good. I don't think that was good.
No, I'm saying
so
here's
I wouldn't
the thing.
even say do that.
If you're like, man, I love these characters. I just want to see them on the screen.
No, because then you'd be disappointed. No, I don't. I don't even think that's a good argument.
You can say that.
I said it.
That's his opinion.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm just saying like
you would not say that.
I had a thirst my entire life to see a live action depiction of these 3 characters.
Yeah.
I'm going to go see this movie for that. That wasn't even satisfying, so I would not recommend it based on that alone. If anything, look at a still picture of them in their costumes.
Move it around a little bit.
Have a good day. Okay. Like, it's not worth the experience of the whole thing just for that.
Robert Monroe Jr. is chiming in, and he says, I.
Or lowercase l.
It's true. We don't know. I don't know.
Could it be that typographical thing that's just a line? They're all 3 of those things. Anyway, it's all about meaning.
Best movie of the year. Have a good time. Everyone should check it out.
Yeah, you should see the best movie of the year this year.
And that's Poor Things.
You think so?
It was awesome.
Okay.
I mean, it's only 20. It's pretty early in 2024.
This year.
Yeah.
Well, it came out last year.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Never mind.
Yeah, JD. Yeah. The best movie that you saw this year.
Yeah.
So far. Yeah.
So far.
Robert Monroe Jr., type faster. I want to see what you have to say.
Yeah. Holding the line. I
feel like if we end, we'll just like hanging up on him.
No, I don't want to do that.
I don't want to hang up on him.
It'll still come through. And
hey,
you can
Dylan.
Respond to it.
Dylan.
Hi.
How many times did you watch Madam Web in the theater?
Yeah.
I 0.
0 times in the theater?
Solid,
did you get like a bootleg
0
copy? You shouldn't do that.
I saw.
You're the problem.
Oh, you know what?
You're why we didn't enjoy this movie.
Real quick. Actually, the thing that really annoys me is the studio seems to have taken the wrong goddamn lesson from this film, and they're like, "Well, women don't go to movies.
Oh.
It's women."
Well,
it's because this is a female-led movie.
How do you know what the studio feels about this?
Because they
shortly after, they disbanded the writers' room for the Silk TV series. And are rehiring a bunch of different creatives because in quotes, they wanted to be more male skewing.
Oh,
Silk.
The one about the
female protagonist.
Yeah.
Right.
To be more male centric focused skewing.
And they said this.
That
wasn't even like
some of the people that were. I mean,
it
was reported. There wasn't a press release from Sony Pictures that said,
"That's what I thought."
Fuck you, girls.
Yeah.
Right.
It was a like hearsay, but still like not just.
But yeah, they don't look at like the quality of the film or anything else. They're just like, well women.
Well, they didn't know how to they put together the ingredients that they thought would make a good movie, and and the other things that they made are what that is, right? They've tried to create it, so them not understanding what went wrong is not a surprise, right? That they're like, well, what do we do now? But they don't know still.
It's been a financial failure 3 times now, and they're just going to keep doing the same thing. That's insanity.
What are they going to say when Craven comes out and that also sucks? Like, well, no movies for dudes.
Back to the girls.
Well, I don't give a shit about the Silk show. Like I'll see Craven. I don't. give a shit about the character, but
Silk.
we'll see.
I might still if it's still.
Craven's like a hard R too and shit too.
Whatever.
So whatever.
Yeah.
He like gets bit by a radioactive lion, I think.
I believe he just gets lion blood.
He's basically
it's regular
he's
lion
Catman.
blood. Yeah.
It's literally like Catman.
Lion blood gets into his bloodstream and he becomes Craven the Hunter.
He's cut near a lion that is also cut.
Yeah.
It's like my blood is mingling.
So what it is both he cuts his hand and then the lion cuts their paw.
And they make
and
a
they go, you
like,
son of a bitch, Dylan. Yeah.
The lion's name is Dylan?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Have you not met a lion before? They're all named Dylan.
Yeah.
Well, so I thought they went by different
son of a
subnames
bitch.
because
Son
of
of
that.
a bitch.
Anyway,
Todd,
no. Before we get into Todd, the other thing that seems distressing.
Yeah, let's
Before we get into
it.
this fucking Todd, there's also now rumors that Sony wants to fast track the next Spider-Man movie and make it another multiverse story, but Marvel and Feige are like,
no,
we
don't want to do that.
I'm spread too thin with these 4 other projects.
Yeah.
Can it be 2025 or 2026?
Okay.
And not another multiverse story, but the hopeful plan that we were doing of all of the New York stuff and Wilson Fisk and they're like, no, we need a financial hit. Like, so
what makes them think that they would know
better
what to do in regards to a financial hit? You know,
well, none of their track record.
Right. Yeah. That's not what's making them think this.
No.
Right.
Todd says 2 of the friends I went with liked it more than Night Swim and Argyle.
Wow.
I liked Night Swim the most, but that's me, and I love going to poorly attended B movies in the cold weather. Todd Engel, there is something very special about going to poorly attended B horror movies in the cold weather. I 100% get that vibe, and I love it. I haven't seen Night Swim, but Argyle knew what it was, man. To me, Argyle was like, we're going to be batshit crazy, goofy as hell, and the people that you watch in the film are going to look like they're enjoying themselves at least. None of that is Madam Web. I am flabbergasted that people like this better than other movies.
Another movie.
Another film.
Right.
The whole time felt like a repurposed like Buffy episode.
How dare you?
Yeah,
well, I mean, I'm talking about like
the
filmic quality of it and taking this small chunk of a 40-minute episode, but like, let's make it 1 hour and 50 minutes and we have no budget, so let's go. Like, it looked bad.
Yeah.
It just looked bad.
Nothing about it was good.
Nothing bad was good.
Let us know what
JD
I said.
says.
Nothing about it was good.
Oh, all right.
Nothing about
That's
it was
interesting.
bad.
Email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com. Let us know what you thought of.
I have an audience of 1. It's Dylan.
Madam Web.
I just want to hear him laugh.
With the subject line, it's Madam Webbin time. Thanks so much.
It's Madam time?
It's Madam time. And then we'll arrange for you to pay
meet
for
a
sex.
Madam. Yeah. It's Morbin Webs. It's Webbin. It's Webbin.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us.
Warbin time.
And we'll talk at you later.
Webbin.
See you next week.
Yeah.
Young John!